This NFC North edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by MyBookie.ag. Right now, to honor football, MyBookie is offering up to $1,000 in free bets using the promo code SGP. That's right, $1,000 in bonus bets on your first deposit when you use the promo code SGP. Play, win, and get paid at MyBookie.ag. We're also brought to you by BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets this season. Track line movement history, score sharp data, and use a powerful algorithm that gives out their best plays. If you're betting serious cash, you need a serious app. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store to download BetQL and make sure to follow them on Twitter at BetQLApp. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer dog?
Lost the hat, Sean. I got a lot of comments. The ladies love looking at my head. It's perfectly shaped. So I went hatless tonight.
Okay. Yeah, because you had the backwards hat on. I thought that was going to be your new thing.
Well, we thought I looked like a cancer patient.
From last night's college football picks episode, I had my Eagles hat on. Colby had his old man Scottish hat on, and you had a hip backwards hat. So interesting combination there.
I felt like I looked a little Jersey, so it made me self-conscious.
We're talking NFC North. Joining us, first time on the podcast, Nate Craig. Nate, what's happening, man?
Boom! I feel like I need a nickname.
Yeah.
We got Stacking Money, and what's yours?
Sean, Stacking the Money Green, then Ryan, Real Money Kramer.
We need to get you a tout name.
Yeah. Nate, no messing around.
Nate,
Craig?
bet against my picks, Craig.
Are you, what's your history as a sports gambler?
Terrible.
Not
college basketball I can do.
You can do college basketball. That's kind of your specialty.
I would say lifetime. I would say lifetime. I broke even, and maybe I had a really good weekend, conference tournament weekend one
tournament is probably the best time to bet, honestly.
It is. It was great, and I was working the Silver Legacy in Reno it was actually on my way out to moving to Los Angeles.
Nate, if you don't know, stand-up comedian. He's done a bunch of shows. What's Preferred Customer is the name of the album, correct?
Preferred Customer, available everywhere you stream or download music
wherever
and comedy.
Great,
you can find
comedy.
it out there.
Opened for Bill Burr, who's also been a guest on the podcast.
Yeah, he has. Yep, and he loves him some gambling, right?
Well,
yeah.
he can't help himself. It's part of the genetics up there in the Northeast, you know.
Yeah, you're Irish, you're Boston.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to lay some action on the game. Now, you're originally from Wisconsin.
Madison, Wisconsin,
Oh.
and then lived in Chicago for 8 years, and then headed west. So, yeah, I'm well acquainted with your NFC.
The
Central,
NFC North.
the
Perfect.
NFC
What was
Central.
it when you were
I like
living?
that. Classic.
Yeah. Oh, throwback. Weren't the Bucks in the NFC?
That was back
Central?
when the Cardinals were in the East. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
We used to get beat the shit out of every year.
Dude, they were so
Right.
bad, and they would always
Right.
show that there were those guys who would hang out in lounge chairs like half a mile away that somehow had a good view. Was
Up
that
in the
Sun
desert?
Devil Stadium?
Yeah.
They would always show those dudes.
I remember
they must have been
that
so
shit.
drunk. As a kid, I just kept thinking, like, aren't you dying of sunburn?
But now that we know, right? Can you imagine sitting in the desert from like 2 miles away trying to watch a football
A
game?
Cardinals game of all things.
This pre-Sunday ticket.
You kind of want to be a couple miles away from a Cardinals game.
Jake the Snake, baby.
Yeah, they had Aeneas Williams. They had a couple players, but overall, pretty trash.
David Boston.
David Boston. Remember that guy?
Oh, man. Bringing me back.
PED testing, David Boston.
Yeah.
When you were in Chicago, did you rep the Packers hard?
I went every year. The first year I was in Chicago, I went by myself. It was the Damon Parker. We had a kid from Oklahoma for 1 year, Damon Parker, and I can't remember who our starter was that went down, and he burnt up the Bears in the rain. It was like swirling rain. The Bears sucked. I don't even know who it was that started for them at quarterback. I went every year I lived in Chicago. I went to see the Packers play at Chicago, including the year where they played in Champaign.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think any of those games had the same quarterback start. They've
been bad. They've been bad.
Bunch. It was Sugar Shane Matthews. It was Cadillac Chad Hutchinson. It was
Rex Grossman probably in there.
I saw Grossman.
Sexy Rexy.
It was just a real.
It's weird how it can just plague a franchise, right? The Chicago Bears, We had a debate last night, even though it was a college pod, and the guy we had on as guest was a big Bears fan, and we got into a debate. Jay Cutler or Jim McMahon, greatest Chicago Bears quarterback of all time. How would you rate those two? I mean, Cutler probably had better
awful.
numbers, but also
Cutler was the greatest Packer quarterback of all time. Cutler was awful.
Well, and just as far as like a blue collar working class town,
Eric Kramer.
There you go.
Sneaky pick. But just that visual of him on the exercise bike in the NFC Championship, you just can't
get that out of your head.
Take him, put him in the blue tent,
Right.
walk him back into the locker room, just for your own public relations.
Well, that night, the people saw him what? People saw him walking up the stairs at Gibson's.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, dude, you're in the NFC. First of all,
how do you go out? You got to pretend like it really bothers you, Jay.
Forget about the rivalry. Like,
just the game itself.
just stand still in the pocket. Be like, I can't roll out. That guy just didn't want it.
At least he didn't retire before the season.
Nobody has ever not wanted it more than Jay Cutler.
Well,
one might argue Andrew Luck.
Enter Andrew Luck, who, again, I'm supportive of the Colts fans who booed Andrew Luck. I think they had a right to be upset, but we got into a Twitter exchange. Not you. You were just somehow roped in on the sidelines on Twitter. The host of the Dirty Sports Guy was like, you would boo. You're from Philly. It's like, yeah, the guy quit like 2 weeks before the season. What do you were gonna like go down and hug him on the field? Like, yeah, it's a visceral reaction.
Wait.
I'm a fan.
Sean.
I paid a personal seat license to watch Jacoby Brissett.
Nobody who bought that license was in the stadium
Well,
at that point.
that's the craziest part, right? This is the fourth quarter of a preseason
game. The only reason
but
you're
they make
at that
season
stadium,
ticket holders buy those
tickets.
things, so they're probably, or maybe it's just broke people in Indianapolis looking to catch a buzz.
he didn't have to wait this late.
Wait, so you're telling me the Dirty Sports Guys are coming after you and you're not tagging me in? You know I control people on Twitter with the best of them.
It's your fellow Giants fan over there, Ryan. He was trying to, yeah.
All right, I'll sell it.
Come on. I mean, I don't know how you do things around New York, Ryan, but in Philadelphia, if you've seen the movie Rocky, if you've seen the 2017 Philadelphia Eagles, when adversity hits, we don't pack it in.
No. Sean,
Hungry dogs.
Sean, I remember.
You try out for the team.
Exactly.
Vince
Papale. One of the best.
Yeah, Sean, I don't know if you remember.
And the little-known garbage-kicking garbage-picking, field goal kicking Tony Danza. Underrated football movie. I just like it because it has Eagles in it. But
The only reason you're at that stadium at that point is if you have kids that have never been to the stadium before, or if you are trying to get a job as an executive with the Colts. That's the only reason you're at that game.
hobnobbing.
I mean, I get the proving the point to the kids, right? Now, we're not leaving early. We're definitely not leaving early.
We're teaching you a lesson. You don't leave early.
We pay
especially when it comes to being the
tickets.
quarterback like Andrew Luck. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk a little little NFC North.
Oh, my God, that sounds good. Oh, that sounds so good.
Like a Pavlovian dog when I hear that noise.
You know what it makes me want to take a nap. There is no greater pleasure
The
than
afternoon games.
sleeping through a football game. In my life, and the better the game, the harder I sleep. The greatest time I've ever had in front of a football game was sleeping through the Tuck Rule game. And I slept through the whole game and woke up just for overtime.
Perfect timing.
I think I woke up just during when Woodson sacked him and caused that fumble.
When you're on the West Coast, the 10 a.m. games, you're tired, you're hungover, you rally for the early games, but the afternoon games, you get a little sleepy. You know what, though? You know what you don't want to sleep through? A great opportunity over at mybookie.ag. Mybookie.ag, the presenting sponsor of the podcast, home of the $100 Super Contest. That's right. $100 entry. You pick 5 games against the spread. Any 5 games you want for a chance to win $100,000. Every dollar that enters the contest will be paid out. That's how they do things over at mybookie.ag. Deposit, withdrawal with cryptocurrency. Win. Play, win, and get paid over at mybookie.ag. Promo code SGP.
Fumbled the snap.
You are a fucking.
I was
I don't know
freestyling.
about that. I didn't notice that. You're a well-oiled machine. I'm over here. I'm like, wow.
I'm a MyBookie read machine.
We're a little bit sloppier with our ads on our podcast.
You play things fast and loose. Yes. Besides being a stand-up comedian, preferred customer, available on Spotify, hilarious album. But
everywhere.
you also
iTunes, Apple Music, everywhere you go.
Everywhere great content is streamed. You're also CJ Sullivan. Sean Flannery, right?
Yep. That's it. The Visitors Locker Room.
Visitors Locker Room.
As little
podcast.
sports as possible. Yeah, you can check us out.
But you're in the
SoundCloud.
you're in the realm of sports, correct?
Of course. I mean, that's the
locker
idea
room. That's
right?
sports.
Yeah,
You can't get more sports than that. But that's why we really, I mean, we're about the personality. We're a personality-driven podcast. You
Personality.
know, it's the sports is only the framework in which we operate.
Chicago Bears coming off a 12-4 season, 2018. An amazing ending to their season with the double doink.
Sure was.
Oh, as a Packers fan, that's got to feel great, just watching another team fall apart like that.
Oh, you know, I got tossed at a bar and just had so much fun. I don't know. I think I ordered I ordered everything. I was at my favorite bar back home in Madison, and I was just lit the fuck up, and it was great.
As an Eagles fan, I do think.
And I got no love for the Eagles. But
number one is rooting for the Eagles, but a close second is rooting against the Dallas Cowboys. The Sixers are 3, the Phillies 4, but just hating on the Dallas Cowboys, close second. So if they were to get back in the playoffs hypothetically, just seeing a team lose like that is amazing. And then they just don't know what to do with their field goal kickers. They're trying out guys walking off the street. Vince Papale, maybe he'll make a run there for the Bears kicker. Carly Lloyd was in the talks of potentially trying out.
I love the news blurb of it. Unfortunately, though, she may not take the NFL team up on the offer to play this preseason.
She had a game
because she has a game this Thursday. So it's like Jesus.
She's got
priorities.
Don't want it.
Speaking of SGP, I mean that's who we're competing with the hashtag Soccer Girl Problem Show.
Yes, exactly. Sports Gambling Podcast is doing battle with hashtag SGP Soccer Girl Problems.
Oh, damn.
So the win total on the Bears is sitting at 9.5, plus 115 on the over, minus 145 on the under, plus 160 to win the division, 725 for the conference, only 1,300 for the Super Bowl. The Chicago Bears and Mitch Trubisky for MVP, and the Chicago Bears to win the Super Bowl are the two most highly bet futures in the NFL market. That's just insane.
Huh. Plus what to win the division?
160, which is really low.
1.6 to 1.
100 to win 160. That's crazy. Who'd the Bears bring in? Let's see. Mike Davis, Ted Larson, Buster Skrine. Clinton Dix. I don't know if he's got anything left, right?
I disagree. Actually, when we stole Amos from them, that was great because a lot of Bear fans loved him. They saw him on the right trajectory, and that was anytime you can take a solid starter away from your division rival is a big thing. But Clinton Dix was always great. He just was taking plays off, and going into last year, it was the last year of his contract. He said out loud, "This is the last year I'm going to play in Green Bay." So that poisoned the well going into the season, and he's still a lottery talent.
Yeah,
like the guy's great. He's the fast during the play, he's as fast as anybody on the field. He was, I thought, but again, I've never played football. Honestly, as a fan, I could say he was one of the best players I thought on the field at all times. I don't know much about football, but I think Clinton Dix is a great player, and I'm pissed that he went to the Bears.
Yeah, I guess I was just basing that opinion off of last year, but that's why we got NFC North insider Nate Craig here giving us the inside scoop.
I mean, why? Because he didn't fit into the system in Washington. He didn't give it a shot. It was midseason. They got him for nothing.
Yeah,
Washington.
You want to talk about poison situations?
Right. We gave him Clinton Dix and a case of beer. Like we wanted him.
Drove him to the airport.
So fast. Yeah.
Threw some cheese curds in there.
Great talent evaluators over there in Washington. So
yeah.
Early draft pick David Montgomery, who he's shined. He's skyrocketed up people's fantasy big boards. Riley Ridley, receiver. Offseason losses. Jordan Howard. He was all right.
You're torn there because he's on the Eagles. You don't want to shit on him.
No, I don't.
Montgomery
think he's
an upgrade.
I don't think he's going to drastically impact their offense. I think he's going to fit in well with the Eagles, kind of fill that LeGarrette Blount role. But I don't know if he's really moving the number one way or the other for Chicago. Cody Parkey,
he's a significant upgrade from. That's a significant upgrade at their one.
But you're saying Montgomery is over Jordan Howard?
Yes, Jordan Howard was
stuck in the mud.
3 yards in a cloud of dust, right?
He was what's his name for the year they went to the.
He was
he was Thomas Jones.
Or Ron Dane is the guy I would throw. Former Giant tripped over the line of scrimmage every time.
Jordan Howard falls forward.
Better pro than Ron Dane. Yeah. unfortunately. I hate to say that. It kills me to say that. But yes, I think he's a better pro than Ron Dane. But I definitely think he just doesn't have the burst that you need out of your one,
out of your feature,
especially
back.
if you're going to lean on him because nobody really knows if the truth can play.
Mitchell Trubisky. So my big picture thoughts on the Bears, they seem like a prime regression candidate. If you got into my head over or under the fact that they're going to get back to 12-4 seemed like a bit of an anomaly for this Bears team. Now, how far do they fall off from that 12-4? Their defense should still be pretty competitive. Khalil Mack, I mean, that guy, again, just points out what an insane ass John Gruden is for getting rid of him. But now it turns out it was kind of a money thing. Like, the Raiders literally didn't have the cash to pay Khalil Mack. Like, there's an old school rule in the NFL where guaranteed contracts, you have to put it in escrow, the money. And because of the new stadium and just how they're not doing well in Oakland at all, they literally just didn't have the guaranteed money to put in an escrow. So maybe not need to kill Gruden, but it's always fun to kill Gruden. Mitch Trubisky, I'm skeptical if he's going to make a second-year jump. But losing Vic Fangio, I do think was huge. Like this Bears defense schemed up really well, and I feel like they kind of got the best out of their talent with Fangio. Pagano, he's probably a pretty solid defensive coordinator, but I think Fangio was certainly top 5 last year. And again, still huge question marks in their kicking game. They had Chris Blewett, which they signed, and then they already cut. I know.
What a great name!
You couldn't write a better name as far as kickers. He's already gone, but that really could be the difference in some of these games. They tried out Eddie Pinheiro. He's gone. I don't know what they're going to do at the kicking position.
It doesn't matter. Did Roquan Smith play a whole season for him last year?
Roquan Smith. I don't know off the top of my head, but he's the
rookie. I don't think he played all year.
He played. He
all
didn't
year?
play the whole season, no.
No. I think I don't know, man. I mean, again, Sean, you're probably right, but
Roquan Smith played 14 games.
Yep. So here's what
121 tackles.
Let me piggyback on that.
Sure.
Regression, right? 12-win team. What do we talk about? Defenses tend to show variance year to
especially
year.
top defenses, it's tough for them to
just in general, defense is going to vary more than offense year to year. This was the number 1 defense according to DVOA, the 20th offense. All right, what do we have? We have Vic Fangio, most would say is a top defensive coordinator in the league. He's moved on. Chuck Pagano is definitely a downgrade. I don't see this defense staying as the top unit. They were the 8th best defense ever recorded by DVOA. So this was an all-time defense last year.
Well, and
they also had the second easiest schedule, Sean. Cut to this year, they have the 5th hardest schedule. We expect, sure, maybe the offense can take a small step forward. Mitchell is now in another year in the offense. But Nagy, like some of the gimmicky shit they were doing, I'm not sure if that's going to continue to work. And we saw it in the playoffs. We knew it was coming in the playoffs. The offense will struggle at times. This defense won't be as elite. And I think this is maybe the team with the biggest step back this year.
Thank God.
Wow. Well, and also
Amen.
you talk about regression candidates. They were number 1 in turnovers last year, 36, by a wide margin. Cleveland was second at 31.
Yeah, you can't count
Rams
on
are
that.
30. Are they going to get 27 interceptions this season again?
Yeah, you can't call.
I mean, the second team was Miami at 21. And they didn't.
All right, guys, interception on 3. Ready, break.
Yeah, that's what's fun about the NFL. It's an oblong ball. It's tough to kind of
nice work,
get those
Sean.
bounds.
Oblong, very good.
Great reference.
To your point, yeah, they had one of the highest interception per drive rates ever.
Nate, big picture thoughts before we break down the Bears. What are your thoughts going into the season on Chicago?
Well, just that win total, I'm going over. But I mean, it really depends. The only thing getting in the Bears' way in the Central is whether or not all the famed personality differences between Rodgers and McCarthy was real. Because if Rodgers has been taking his foot off the gas, and I mean we haven't gotten into the Packers yet, so I'll stick on the Bears. But I would go over. I would go over the win total, but I sure as hell wouldn't bet them plus 160 to win the division.
That's insane.
Sean, let's go through the schedule.
Yeah, let's walk through it.
First 4, Green Bay at home on opening night. We will be in Vegas, Sean, at
Legacy Stadium.
Legacy Stadium. I will be wearing a Packers jersey because I lost a bet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jordy Nelson, here we come.
Nice.
Green Bay at home Thursday night, at Denver, at Washington on Monday night, Minnesota at home. This is a brutal start.
I like
you
that
have
start.
your rival.
For the Bears, I like that start.
You have the rival. Then you have to go to Denver. We know how Denver plays early in the season. The
Fangio.
elevation.
He knows.
Revenge spot for Fangio and at the elevation. Then on the road again to play the shit Washington Redskins and Minnesota at home. I got to be honest. I think they drop. I think they beat the Redskins on the road, but drop one of the home games. I'm going to say 2-2, and I feel like that's being generous.
I'll go 2-2 in that 4-game stretch.
What do you think, Nate?
I think it all depends on the week one. If they win week one, they can go 4-0.
Oh, you want to give them 4-0?
Yeah,
I like
maybe.
that. I like
That-
that.
well,
Jinx and the rival.
I mean, I'm not. The Broncos one I could see going either way, and
No, they're not going to win that spot.
If they beat the Packers, I'm not scared of any of those other three teams. The
For them.
Vikings, and we'll talk about the Vikings, but the Bears, specifically the Bears versus the Vikings, you know how the Packers own the Bears for like 2 decades?
yeah,
The last game of the season last year, Bears at Vikes, is about to set the tone for the next decade.
I was sitting in
Yeah.
this very garage with
Unwatchable.
my Nick Foles shrine,
Right.
just watching the game, going, "We need the Bears to win this meaningless game
Right.
against the Vikings."
Yeah,
and of
well, they
course,
did.
it's a primetime game. It's a
Yeah,
big game.
they did.
Kirk Cousins, is he going to show up? No.
Nope.
It's going to get a lot of money though. Okay.
Next
sir.
4, they travel to London to play the Raiders. Bye week. New Orleans at home. Chargers at home. At Philadelphia. Boy, who do you trust more to travel, Nagy or Gruden? They'll get
I
that
mean,
one,
I'm
right?
just so down on the Bears. Saints on that Chicago turf. That's always tough for them.
I think they go 2-2 again.
Drew Brees can win in Chicago. I'm not worried about the Saints, and I'd love the Chargers on the road.
So what do
Yeah,
you
I'll
got?
go
Philip Rivers
2-2.
doesn't care about the road.
I'll go 2-2. Yeah,
No.
his whole life is the road.
So what do you got him for
He's
that?
a father
for?
of 12.
You got 2. You got
Just gets in the van.
on the road again. You got where are you at then? 3-1, Nate. 2-2
In the next 4,
in this 4. Yeah, Oakland, New Orleans.
I'll say
Chargers,
he
Philly.
goes. Wait, it was Oakland, New Orleans, Chargers, and then what?
Philly at Philly.
At Philly. I'll say they go. I'll say they start 4-0, then they go 0-4.
Oh, wow.
I like it. Detroit at Rams, Giants at Detroit on Thursday night. Boy, that again, I'll go 2-2.
I'm going to say 3-1.
2 Detroit games in there.
Yeah. I think they lose the one on the short week in Detroit.
Detroit's just garbage.
They could be. They could be a dumpster fire.
But I like Darryl Bevel, and I'm rooting for him. But whatever. 2-2. I think they win those 2. It's at Rams and at what?
At Rams, at Detroit, and then
What was the-
Detroit.
Giants at home.
Giants at home?
Yeah,
Cash that one.
win the
Is
home
Eli
game.
Manning really starting for you guys?
One more run, baby. One more ring. One more ring.
All right. Well, hey,
Eli Manning's been named starter.
It depends on who starts, but I could see the Giants going. I could see the Giants being great. It's the NFL. That's the
There you
beauty
go.
of
I
it.
like
2-2.
this. I
I'll say
like
love
2-2.
your love your drunken
Last
optimism.
4, Dallas on Thursday night at Green
Ooh.
Bay, Kansas City at Minnesota. Wow,
Jeez,
wow. I'm going 1-3.
that is tough, man.
Dallas and Kansas City, huh?
Kansas City might. That might be tough for
I'm gonna say
Kansas
1-3 too. I'm gonna say 1-3 too. I think they beat the Vikes again. They sweep the Vikes for the next 5 years, and they lose the rest of those.
Sean,
I'll
what do you
go
got?
1-3.
All right,
They could unravel.
myself and Nate have them going 7-9.
Ooh, wow.
And Sean, you got them going 8-8. So we all agree with the regression. We all like the under because this win total is 9.9.5.
Yeah, but they're killing you on the juice right now.
Give me the juice.
Oh wow.
Give it
okay.
to me. This is not a 10-win team. We went through that schedule. That's a hard schedule. This is not
It's
a 10-win
hard
team.
schedule. They have no Vic Fangio. You can't rely on that crazy turnover margin. Yeah, it's just not adding up.
Something tells me I'm gonna pick every team in the North to go 7-9.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's always the hardcore fan trying to be realistic. Like, listen, they're not going to be horrible. They're going to be like 7-9. Clearly not in the playoffs. Not competitive. They're
7-9. 7-9 can make the playoffs.
Speaking of 7-9, that would be a good season for the Detroit Lions. Coming off 6-10, their win total, some reason, moved up from last year. 6.5, -145 on the over, +115 on the under. plus 1,300 to win the division. 40-1 to win the conference, 80-1 to win the Super Bowl. Don't have to really discuss those. Who'd they bring in? C.J. Anderson, who is, just
Has
like
he lost
fat-
any weight?
Hopefully not. That's part of his thing, man. That's his brand. Danny Amendola.
C.J. Anderson, to what? Be a place kicker? What are we talking about here?
Jesse James, tight end, and Logan Thomas, former Virginia Tech quarterback.
There you go, Sean.
Trey Flowers, who that's actually
It's a
a
nice
decent
pickup.
pickup for them. Draft picks. TJ Hawkinson.
I like
Again,
him.
Sleeper fantasy right there. I think he's going to fill the Golden Tate role. Huge PPR value for TJ Hawkinson. Jelani Tavai, linebacker. I'm not going to be able to pronounce the other names. Yeah, those are some of the draft picks. Offseason losses. Bruce Ellington, TJ Lang, Ziggy Ansah. Great football name. Madden would love him. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Detroit Lions. Again, Hawkinson could be good. Interesting fantasy play. Interesting note here. As much as we kind of realize that Golden Tate is a joke, and Ryan, you're about to experience that firsthand.
Here we go.
He lost his way once he left the Eagles' nest. He got into drugs. He's out for the first 4 games. Quote-unquote fertility drugs.
Mm-hmm.
The Detroit Lions are really miss Golden Tate. Pre-Golden Tate, they were averaging 24.4 points per game. Post-Golden Tate, 17 points per game because Stafford needs that check down. And maybe Hawkinson is the guy that fills that role. I'm actually pretty high on Kerryon Johnson fantasy as well, even though I'm not high on this team because the Detroit Lions are – in spite of the fact that the league is clearly a passing league and they're in a fucking dome, they've decided to, hey, we want to be smash mouth, hard-nosed football. We're going to pound the rock. Kerryon Johnson actually can catch the ball out of the backfield. They brought in Patricia, and you would think, oh, that's going to be awesome for their defense. They went from the 31st ranked team in defensive efficiency all the way up to the 27th ranked team in defensive efficiency. So not really a great move on the defense. Coaching is an issue. Offensive line is an issue. But again, Stafford, as much as you want it, as easy and simple and cliche as it is, the dude is just not a winner. He's only had 2 seasons where he's had double-digit wins, and you can blame it on coaching, the city, the area, the stadium, whatever you want to put it on. When Matt Stafford has been a quarterback, they don't win 10 games.
Look, Matt Stafford can make all the throws, okay? He can throw it to your secondary. He can throw it to your linebackers. He can throw it to your D linemen.
D-line dropping in a in a little hook zone on a screenplay.
Yeah, and Golden Tate was great for them. He's Golden Tate, what, Giants? He's already the Giants'
Yeah,
best
he's
receiver since ODB.
Well, and the other thing is that we love to bet Stafford when he's playing a bad team.
It's funny
bet
that
against
funny
Stafford.
that him and Cousins are in the same division because they're really just, you've seen that like Spider-Man meme where they're both pointing at each other. And that's Matt Stafford and Kirk Cousins because they've both been paid a ton of money. Both, you look at their numbers and you're like, oh, they're a good quarterback. Let's pay them a lot of money. But they're both guys who are just not going to win you playoff games. And
He
7
can
wins,
win you regular season games though, and he can beat
when
bad teams.
when you're playing bad teams.
Well, and I don't have much to add other than the fact that I think if anything, maybe a little bit of positive regression. I think maybe is it? Did you mention Cooter? He lost his Cooter. Bevel. I don't know if that's an upgrade.
That was a slot.
I don't know. Lenny likes that.
Lenny's a big fan.
But for me, do you believe in Patricia? Because I think that is going to determine whether or not you're willing to invest.
What was the Lions' record last year?
6-10.
6-10.
Yeah, you forgot about them because they were forgettable.
Yeah. And I've said this, I think, like 5 times between different podcasts and the Sirius show, but I'm going to stick to it. He went in there and said, we're going to be the Detroit Patriots. That doesn't work, right? You can't – your team has to have its own identity. It's just like the movie Cool Runnings where the Jamaican team tries to be like the Swiss team where they're saying Eins, Weins, Streins. No, you need to go back to your – soapbox derby roots. You need that fun guy kissing the egg. You need John Candy helping you jog for some reason. Whatever it is, you need to find your own mojo. And they've just blatantly copied Bill Belichick. And copying Bill Belichick, all the Bill Belichick assistants, we've seen it. It just doesn't work. Belichick is his own thing.
Not to mention, they often don't have a great defense. So that's the best part about these Patriots team. I will say they reloaded. They brought in some talent.
Yeah.
We should just go through them.
It'll be interesting. I think that Darrell Bevell did a great job in Seattle, but I can't imagine a different quarterback to work with.
Yeah, I mean Russell Wilson.
From Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Like Russell Wilson, not only is he
He's
just
the
a better
opposite,
athlete,
right?
he's also a pretty good decision maker.
He's a great decision maker who wins games and maybe doesn't have amazing stats.
Stafford can chug a beer though. We did learn that this offseason. So.
Oh wait, don't insult Aaron Rodgers on this podcast.
I'm not trying.
Look, he enjoys his lager. Okay.
Cabernets. He likes the cabs.
Yeah. He's a big cabin. Any big thoughts on the Lions before we walk through the schedule?
Man, I agree with you on Matt Stafford. I just don't, I'm 6.5.
Yeah. We'll see.
I would stay away from that bet.
At Arizona, Chargers at home, at Philly, Kansas City at home. That's a tough start. Sean, I don't want to tease the Week 1 Picks podcast, but I may have already put down action on the Lions on the road in Arizona.
Wow.
I think
that game could really go anywhere because as much as I think Cliff Kingsbury is a piece of trash, that offense
is gonna be garbage to start.
I think so too, but there's like a 10% chance they roll out this crazy thing and we haven't seen. But you just watch Kyler Murray and being 5'7", it doesn't always work in the NFL.
Listen,
short.
He looks visibly short.
I'm going
Vic
1 and 3.
was short and Flutie was short, but they didn't play short.
Vic was like 6 feet tall though.
Yeah, I guess he was just had like a small frame.
I'm going 1 and 3 for those first 3 or first 4.
So
at Arizona, Chargers at home. At Philly, Kansas City at home.
Real quick question:
how did they win 2 of those?
Is T.J. Lang retired? Did he retire? Did they draft any offensive linemen? Can they run the ball? Has their line changed at all?
They brought in Trey Flowers,
and I think T.J. Lang did retire because of injuries. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, he was kind of at the end of the rope. Did they? And I think they signed Mike Daniels to a 1-year deal.
Oh, I'm sorry, Trey Flowers.
D tackle.
Who? T.J. Lang is gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he retired, but he's gone.
I just don't. I mean, unless they.
That's the concern, right? Because I also like Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah,
but when you look at this team, are they going to be? But
that's also been Stafford's problem. I mean, he's just been under siege his whole career.
But what did Bevell do really well? Creatively run the ball in Seattle.
He did.
And I'll say this too: my love of Kerryon Johnson
again
from a fantasy
has a lot to do with Russell Wilson's mobility.
True.
From a fantasy point of view, is I think it's a volume play with Kerryon Johnson. I don't think for whatever reason they went out of their way to get LeGarrette Blount a lot of touches when clearly the guy just has no burst. But Kerryon, the dude's a legit running back, so I think he'll help keep their offense afloat. But that schedule, just looking at that schedule,
tough start.
Yeah, 1 and 3. How did they win 2 of those things?
0-4. They're the Lions. If anybody knows how to go 0-4, it's the Lions.
That's a good
They're going to find a way.
The thing that Stafford can do is he can, as disastrous as his interceptions can be, he does have the arm. Obviously, this is such a cliche, but he can make all the throws, just like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not like they can stack. Teams will stack the box against the Lions, but it's not like they can do it all game long.
Yeah.
Because
they'll open it up.
Yeah.
And
Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones. That's not there are worse 1-2 punches.
And Hawkinson. Hawkinson could be a legit red zone target.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next 4, we got an early bye week. That's never good. They could be going to that bye week 0-4 if Nate's right. At Green Bay off the bye week on Monday Night Football. Minnesota at home, Giants at home, at Oakland.
I think they go. I'm going to say 3-1 there. I think they win one of the division games, and I'd like them to win those other 2.
I'm going to go 2-2, maybe a little bit more conservative.
I agree with you, Sean. I think 3-1.
Ooh.
I think they've been beating the Packers. They ended like a 30-year drought they lost at Lambeau for 30 years. I don't think they're gonna. It's gonna be another 30 before they win again at Lambeau.
At Chicago, Dallas at home, at Washington, Chicago at home on Thursday night. This is where I think they randomly pop off a 3-1 stretch. I think they beat Dallas, beat Washington, beat Chicago on Thursday night.
I'll say 2-2. I think they split with the Bears, and then they beat the Redskins or the Lions.
What's in there? What's in
At
there?
Chicago, Dallas, at Washington, Chicago again on Thursday night.
They lose 3. They go 1-3 there. They lose both games to Chicago.
And that Bears Lions, that's Thanksgiving, right?
I think so. At last 4, at Minnesota, Tampa Bay, at Denver, Green Bay. Denver could be a dumpster fire by that point, though.
Could be.
That's just not a good spot
I'm
for
not
Detroit
I'm
outdoors.
not as low on Denver as you are.
Green
Bucks are
Bay,
tough.
do they need that game because they've already clinched the division at 12-4?
Whoa.
2-2.
Say 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, 2-2.
I'm gonna do something stupid here. God damn, 3-1.
Wow. Brian,
So,
you're secretly high on this Lions.
I accidentally gave the Lions 9-7. We got Sean. You're at 8-8. Nate, you're at math is hard. 6-10.
Okay, so let's see here. I'm technically over. Kramer, you're over. Nate, you're under.
Ooh, I'm on the side of the juice for both of these, so I guess I'm doing
Minus
something right.
145.
I'll tell you this though. Even with this massive discrepancy, I can't. Can I take an over for Detroit? No,
It's probably not my strongest.
I would
division.
recommend to my clients.
Well, you know what though? This is the NFL, dude. Then if all of us say that they're gonna suck, then
it is odd to me.
But they could also suck and go over their win total pretty easily. Like they could be ugly 8-8 or an ugly 7.
But doesn't it just feel like one of the Bears, Packers, or Vikings is going to underperform and maybe it's just the Bears, but someone's going to underperform, and I think the Lions will randomly not finish in last place in the division.
I'm pretty sure I had them getting swept by the Bears and the Packers and sweeping the Vikes.
I could see that.
I could see that as well.
Where are we at, Sean?
Well, Ryan, you were talking about your clients. You know what I recommend to my clients? The listeners of this podcast? BetQL. It's a free app. What's better than free? Oh, you can stream Nate's comedy album on Spotify.
Boom.
You don't have to pay for that. Get that off any of those great streaming audio services. While you're there, while you got the phone up, you're listening to a hilarious Nate Craig comedy album. Why don't you start doing a little handicap? Week 1, NFL games. Week 1, college football right around the corner. BetQL, they got all the data analysis bets, best bets that you need. Line movement. You want to see where the line's going. You can track the line history. Plus, if you're completely lost, they got a powerful algorithm that just says, hey, this is what you do. This is a 5-star pick, 3-star pick, 2-star pick, whatever it is. We got you covered. If you live in Jersey or Pennsylvania, they got exclusive offers over at BetQL. Free to download. All you got to do. If you've never downloaded an app, I don't know how you're listening to this podcast right now, but I'm going to walk you through it. You hit that App Store button or Google Play Store button if you're a Android user. You type in BetQL, BETQL. Download that sweet thing today. Follow them on Twitter as well. BetQL app. And we're back talking about the Green Bay Packers. The Pack Attack coming off a disappointing 6-9-1 season.
Rough year.
The end of the Mike McCarthy era. The win
Rough
total
year.
has skyrocketed up to 9.5. Pretty even on the money. Well, plus 110 on the over. So if you're a Packer backer, as they say, you are getting plus odds that they will get double-digit wins. Under minus 140, 225 to win the division. 900 on the conference, 1,800 on the Super Bowl. Who'd they bring in? Billy Turner, guard offensive tackle. Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, rounding out some outside pass rush, possibly. Adrian Amos. But the Packers, they're not a free agent team. They're all about the draft. Drafted Rashawn Gary.
Love that pick.
End, defensive tackle, solid pick. You gotta get in the trenches there. Darnell Savage, safety. Center guard Elkton Jenkins. Tight end Jace Sternberger. Who'd they lose? Randall Cobb. But I mean, it's kind of his time had passed. Clay Matthews, who apparently is still in the league. Defensive and offensive linebacker Nick Perry. Muhammad Wilkerson. You might be able to. Rashad Breeland.
And the most important loss is the coach.
Mike McCarthy. R.I.P. Mike McCarthy.
And I've been calling for this for a while, all offseason.
Since they lost the NFC Championship game in Seattle.
Aaron Rodgers is in full FU mode this year.
Yes.
That to me,
Amen.
I have a handful of points.
McCarthy talks like he's swallowing stew. That guy's unbearable.
It clearly, to me, it was, and everyone, it was very obvious. Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy, they had beef, right? And it does feel like Aaron Rodgers is dedicating this season to shoving it up Mike McCarthy's chubby ass. What I'm kind of concerned about is the new dynamic with Matt LaFleur.
4 years older only.
It's a weird thing of like, he wants to say F you to Mike McCarthy, so he's going to play really well. But it does feel like there's some early friction between him and LaFleur. And if you're in the room, if you're in the QB room, the coaching room, calling the plays, is Matt LaFleur really going to call out Aaron Rodgers? Is he really – not that he needs to be put in line, but I think for a team to be successful, the coach has to be the alpha. But in this case, Aaron Rodgers appears to be the alpha, and with good reason. Like, I just feel like when it comes down to it, Rodgers is going to say to Matt LaFleur, like, why would I listen to you or your offense? And will that cause enough problems to derail this season?
I feel like we're forgetting his greatness.
Yeah, he wants to win.
I feel like we're forgetting how great Aaron Rodgers has been, how great he is, and frankly, McCarthy was a joke. And I would imagine if I was a Packers fan, I'd be very upset.
He was the worst.
Last couple years, he was the opposite of progressive and creative. I mean, look, I had to deal with two seasons of Ben McAdoo, and that was one of his proteges. So I like the fact that there's new blood coming in. I like the fact that LaFleur is the Football Outsiders in the chapter, Sean, they highlight how he is schematically, categorically the opposite of McCarthy. So I think change is good. I think they improved the defense. Look, they were still the 7th best offense according to DVOA last year, and and Aaron Rodgers had a down year. He had a down year. The defense was horrible, 29th. What do we say all the time, Sean? Variance there. They made an investment. I think we're going to see a better pass rush on the defensive side of the ball.
The defense was not horrible last year.
But I think they're going to be –
the problem was that for the last 8 weeks of the season, the Packers did not go 3-and-out in the second half of any individual game, and the defense had to play way too much. The defense was not bad. That's why they kept Mike Pettin. The only good thing that the Packers front office has done in the last 5 years, and I'll tell you what the real problem is with the thing that I might be worried about with the Packers, the best thing that they've done is evolved the mindset of, oh, we got a new coach, we got to let him get his guys in, new regime. Why? There's so many moving parts on both sides of the ball at the professional level. Why would, if Mike Pettin was doing a good job with the defense, statistically they may have been a bad team. They came in, they kept getting us the ball back. All I needed to see, I went to see the Rams game last year. We stepped on their dicks and still somehow lost that game. The Rams won the NFC, and we stepped on their dicks. Rodgers looked great, the team looked great, and fucking what's his name fumbled the ball out, on the kick return when he should have taken a knee in the end zone because Rodgers would have just gone dink, dink, dink and won that game. But the problem is, and what I'm saying was the defense got us the ball back in the second half of that game.
To your point, time of possession, 28 minutes a game.
That's tough.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I saw when as an Eagles fan, we dealt with the same thing with Chip Kelly. He said time of possession doesn't matter, but it
totally does. It absolutely does.
Yeah, the defense gets tired.
There's nothing better for your defense than a stud offensive guard.
Yeah,
nothing better for your defense than somebody that could just grind somebody down.
Saquon Barkley, maybe. That's great for your defense.
Well, that too. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Eli Manning, though,
and that's where we're coming back. Like Aaron, this could maybe finally be the year that we take the shackles off Aaron Jones, and he's given the liberty to kind of show what all of the talent that the NFL community has or love for this guy. Like he hasn't gotten the chance because I think McCarthy's just an old school guy.
Yeah, McCarthy was an idiot about Aaron Jones. As far as but at the same time, I think you split the difference because I don't know if Aaron Jones is built to be that feature. He's not a big guy. Him and Alvin Kamara are the same stature guy.
They need something.
Well, they need something. I think Aaron Jones is that guy. What I'm worried about with the Packers is that I shouldn't even look. I grew up. Bob Harlan was the president that hired Ron Wolf, who traded for Brett Favre and signed Reggie White.
Son of a bitch.
I didn't know what Bob Harlan sounded like.
Yeah.
Mark Murphy is all over every fucking place. He's yelling at when he was in college, he read a book about upper management, and volume was the thing that stuck with him. He's yelling at press conference. When you saw the press conference from when LaFleur got hired, it was Mama Bear, Baby Bear, and Papa Bear. It was LaFleur was too little. He was stammering. It was the greatest day of his life. He just got the job. Gutekunst was just right. Gutekunst is a cool fucking customer, dude, and I hope he gets to do his job because I like what he's doing so far. Mark Murphy is screaming into the microphone at these beat reporters for the Green Bay Press-Gazette, and it's just like, dude, this was never a job. You're not the owner. You're not the GM.
Yeah.
You represent the stockholders.
The shareholders.
You should not be here right now. You
Whatever
should
sort
not
of
be on the
Ponzi
podium.
scheme the Packers are running over there with their you get a stock certificate.
Wait.
Can I cash this in? Oh no.
What do you mean it's not a dividend stack? No, he should not be up there. He should not be talking. It should be LaFleur and Gutekunst, and that's the organization right now. And here's the problem with the Packers. You know that the Packers are in trouble. If Gutekunst or if LaFleur doesn't work out, and Mark Murphy keeps his job,
That's weird.
He's the problem
because
with the Packers.
The whole thing that's great about the Packers is there is no horrible, shitty owner that monopolizes the power.
There was never that role back in the day. And now Mark Murphy has carved out this role where you have to answer to him. All things have to go through the president. That never happened. That never happened.
He's
bring the power back to the people.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not a wartime consigliere.
That's what I'm saying. But if he lets Gutekunst and LaFleur work, I think Rodgers is totally fine. I think those guys are two guys. I think McCarthy was just a dipshit. His eyes were too far apart. Rodgers was like, who is this fucking fat fuck that I have to listen to talk in meetings that didn't want to draft me and passed up on me for Alex Smith?
But now Aaron Rodgers, what, like, I mean, like he grew that crazy mustache and wore the denim suit. It was like, I don't know, Freddie Mercury cosplay. Like, as a fan,
he's the best.
Canadian tuxedo, baby.
I'll say I thought that was a little like odd, but the Happy Gilmore thing, that was fun.
Look,
that was fun.
Wisconsin is split down the middle every which way you look at it. Okay, it's either Senator McCarthy or Badger Bob LaFollette. It's either fucking work. It's either labor unions or fucking the House of Un-American Activities Committee. It's
a HUAC reference on our podcast.
I will reference the House of Un-American Activity Committee. And fucking Favre was Reagan, Rodgers is Obama, and there's things that people don't like about Rodgers, and they let those things fester. But he is clearly the smartest guy.
In on Trump.
He is clearly the smartest guy on any roster, and I just hope that he just goes.
He's too smart for football. Andrew Luck's problem.
Yeah, that's not. He goes robo, dude. He goes robo.
Aaron Rodgers would never retire before the season.
No.
Unless Jordy Nelson asked him to, maybe. Let's walk through the schedule.
Sure, Jordy? All right.
Let's walk. Yeah. So
I'll say this
Aaron
now.
Rodgers is going to be in FU mode this year, big time.
I'll say this right now. That division on. That's
Sean, when's the last time
the win the division price for them
at
225? That's talking to me.
Plus 225.
Yeah.
To put down.
So put down 100. Win.
Let's walk through the schedule.
It just lets me think they love the Bears. That Bears defense is that good.
Sean, when is the last time Aaron Rodgers wasn't even being mentioned in the conversation of best quarterbacks?
It's weird.
I know. I took him early.
It's a problem.
I think it's hilarious.
He still had even last year being a down year for Rodgers, he still had 7.4 yards per attempt. Right, like that's. By any accounts, that's like
telling you he's going to be on the field a lot more.
And what does LaFleur do a lot?
He also quietly, and I didn't even know this till I brought it up again. 25-2. Those are Nick Foles numbers.
That was
25
down year touchdown.
2 interceptions.
So
you only threw 2 interceptions, and you still had put your defense in this bad spot. It does scream scheme.
Where does LaFleur come from? The Shanahan McVay play action. Use the play action.
This makes
send
me
the
like
vertical
Aaron
routes.
Jones the more I think
I
about
really
it.
like it. All right, let's go through
By the way, Jimmy Graham wasn't drafted in a single fantasy draft in the entire country.
You want a bold prediction? He finishes at the top 10.
That's
tight
what I'm
ends.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
I like that. They also drafted the kid in the 3rd round. At Chicago on Thursday night, where, Sean, I'm already down on it, plus 3.5 for the Packers. Minnesota at home. Denver at home. Philly at home on a Thursday night. What a start to the schedule. 4-0, baby.
Wow. I think they could start hot. But I'll say there's one game in there I could see them losing. I'll say 3-1.
I'll say 3-1. I think they lose to the Bears.
Ooh. At Dallas, Detroit at home on Monday night, Oakland at home, at Kansas City. I think they dropped the Kansas City game.
I think
3-1.
I think they dropped the Dallas game 2-2.
I'll go 2-2.
I'm way too high on this team.
But Rodgers does kind of own the Cowboys.
Yeah, he does. You want to go 3-1?
Actually, you know what? I'll go 3-1.
I'll go 3-1.
Fuck the Cowboys.
Although I like the Cowboys, but I'm saying 3-1 because Ezekiel Elliott's contract situation.
Yeah, let Joe. How's Joe Buck feel about that?
That is a disgusting act.
At Chargers,
Joe Buck.
Straight cash, homie.
Just a reminder. I mean, you probably know where that's coming from, but that was Randy Moss pretending to moons the crowd.
Can you imagine the times?
What a ridiculous fucking.
That was a gross act.
Imagine that the president could do that tomorrow and it wouldn't even be a news story. At Chargers, Carolina, bye week. At
Joe Buck would still vote for him.
At San Francisco, at New York Giants. This is the tougher stretch.
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
Wait, I just told you too many games, I think. Chargers,
Still
Carolina.
Yep.
So at Chargers, Carolina, bye week. At San Francisco, at New York Giants. You gonna head down to? You gonna watch the game in LA when they come out here?
I bought season tickets.
Nice.
StubHub is a secretly great place to watch.
So small.
By the way, if anybody's trying to buy Broncos, Colts, Texans, or Raiders tickets, you hit up at Hype Man on Twitter.
Stream his album on Spotify and also buy his tickets. The Raiders ones you won't have any trouble moving.
No. Everybody wants those.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that it's kind of a home game against the Chargers, so that's probably the toughest game in this stretch.
Right.
I'm gonna say 4-0.
I'm saying 2-2 here.
4-0.
They got 3 road games. I'm gonna say.
Oh, you're right. I'll go 3-1. I don't see them losing any of these games, but you're right. 3 out of 4 road games.
If there's one thing,
inevitably,
thing that Rodgers can do, it's get hot. At some point this year, he's going to get hot. I think it'll be at the end of the year, but I'm a Packer fan, so I'm going to say 4-0 right now.
Love it. Washington, Chicago, at Minnesota on Monday night, at Detroit to close out the season. Like I said, I don't think they are even going to need that last game.
3-1.
3-1, because we know Kirk Cousins ain't beating them on Monday night.
You like that? You like that?
That's going to be.
You like that?
I
love just for me.
I love what the Vikings did to themselves. 4-0
and
8-0 to end the year.
Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. 14-2 for Nate.
Boom, baby.
The unbiased.
That's why you got me here.
Sean 12-4.
Jesus Christ.
Ryan 12-4.
We love them.
We love Aaron If it makes you feel better, the Football Outsiders also like them to win the division.
Underneath the paperweight that was Mike McCarthy.
Can you play that lock sound effect? You're telling me I can get plus odds on Aaron Rodgers winning 10 games this year. Plus odds, plus 110.
Well,
Ryan, I'm on the division too.
Speaking of plus odds, the Minnesota Vikings, you can almost get plus odds betting the under. Right now they're at -105. Win total set at 9. Coming off an impressive 8-7-1 season for our boy Kirk Cousins. And they lost a game in which the Bears didn't need to win. But still for some reason played their starters and then lost to the Eagles. Dream scenario. Vikings -125 on the over. So the betting public thinks Kirk Cousins is going to win 10 games. -105 on the under. Division +175 only. Conference 10-1. Super Bowl 24-1. Oh my God! It's the.
I'm so confident that Kirk Cousins sucks that they're probably going to win the division.
No.
I've been bagging on Kirk Cousins for a long time, and as a handicapper, you like to look every once in a while. You look yourself in the mirror, not like, "Hey, do you have a problem?" It's like, "Hey, do I have blind spots? Am I biased? I know I am." And sometimes I think, "Am I biased towards Kirk Cousins?" But then I do a little bit of research, and I'm like, "No." I listened. I was driving fucking 10 hours to a gig these past couple days, and I listened to the entire Vikings-Cardinals preseason game, a game in which Kirk Cousins went 3 for 13 for 35 yards and took 2 sacks. at home
Yeah.
against the Arizona Cardinals defense. A Cliff Kingsbury defense put him in a bottle of, and it's preseason. Sure. Well, why don't we think about the regular season? A regular season where Cousins is 0-7 on Monday Night Football, 4-24 versus teams with winning records. Oh, that sounds good enough to make a guaranteed. He's made $72 million.
Yeah.
Got one of the first guaranteed contracts of all time. That Sloter dude that they have on the Minnesota Vikings, their third quarterback, that the local guys loved in Minnesota. They go, oh, he's gonna come in. It's gonna be another Sloter Saturday, and it was a tie. The Vikings were losing against the Cardinals at home until Sloter came in, took care of business. The thing is, this is supposed to be a dominant defensive team, right? You're in that dome. You have this Zimmer-led defense. You're supposed to have your defense kind of be what really drives you, but it wasn't last season. They weren't efficient. They went from allowing 17.4 points per game in 2017 to 21.3 points per game. Everson Griffin, unclear what his mental state is. Probably what was that band? I'm blanking on the song name, but he's still up in the air with his mental state. Probably, listening to some goth music. It's unclear what's going on with this Vikings team, but very, very simply, they still have Kirk Cousins. And it's the same handicap for the Detroit Lions. They're not an above 500 team. It's tough for me to be really certain that the Lions aren't going to win 7 games, but I'm hyper certain that the Vikings aren't going to win 10 games.
I mean, come on. Zimmer's a good coach. He's had good
Is he
defenses.
a good coach? He's a good coordinator.
He is a good coach.
But I think it's a little
he's
different.
the best thing they got going for him.
But the
I
offense,
like Zimmer.
to your point, we have a glass running back in Dalvin Cook. People are hyped about the backup, Madison.
Boom.
They lost Murray, who was a local kid. He
They
played
got
well.
who? Amir Abdullah.
Yeah, they did bring in Amir Abdullah.
But then they also drafted the rookie Madison.
Madison,
right?
I like him.
I think they're fine. Their running game should be fine. I can't understand what's happening on their offensive side. So they went to a zone blocking scheme, and now they're just shifting to like smaller, faster.
And they have
last year
they have
led
Thielen and Diggs, right? Like they should be able to light it up. They're
they
in a
led
dome.
the league. in fewest plays per blown block. So their offensive line was horrible.
But if what they're doing is pivoting, so they're not trying to bring in, like stud guys that can, that just the powerhouse guys that everybody wants. That's probably the best move that I would make with a guy like Kirk Cousins, because he should be able to get it to Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs and and their tight and Rudolph. There's no reason why they can't throw for first downs, but they didn't.
Here's
when they needed it, when the playoffs were on the line against a Bear team that was just there for a barbecue.
And
Kirk Cousins,
amazing. They had an easy schedule last year.
They couldn't
the schedule
get a
gets much
first
harder.
down in a game at home when they needed it.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, he's been in the league for 7 years. Kramer, without looking it up, what is the best season Kirk Cousins has had? Win-loss.
9-7.
They won 10. They went 10-6 and had a home game. 9-7.
Kramer nailed it. 9-7. Kirk Cousins, $73 million, has never had double-digit wins in the National Football League.
And what's the win total?
That is insane. The win total, it's pretty convenient. It's sitting right at 9. So
it was 9 on the dot.
What you're expecting is Kirk Cousins to have his greatest year of all time as a quarterback.
So
according to wins.
Kirk Cousins also number 3 on the list of completion percentage over expectation. So he essentially completed a shitload of passes that would have been qualified as great catches.
He's Alex Smith without the QB wins. That's what he is. He'll push it down maybe a little bit farther, but
or playoff wins.
Yeah,
Alex Smith wins playoff games.
Yeah, Alex Smith won you games. He was a game manager on fucking steroids. And Kirk Cousins is just like a hobo game manager. I don't know what you call Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the same guy at the end of the game against the Eagles. And they were on the 5-yard line. The clock was ticking down. It was before the end of the first half. There was 20 seconds left. They're out of timeouts. He goes to intentionally spike it, has a brain fart, and kneels down. The clock runs out. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Of course, it was Chip Kelly, and they still somehow lost the game. But Jesus Christ, Kirk Cousins. He's
Yeah, I
just
mean,
not a winner.
Hey, can you?
He's not a loser.
Are there odds on just taking the line? Just taking 9 wins?
Yeah.
Oh, exactly 9 wins?
That'd
be interesting.
I don't know what that would be. I'm sure we could find that somewhere.
A scenario where
You know what Kirk Cousins is,
they
Sean?
win 9 games and lose a tiebreaker in the playoffs is a very Vikings scenario.
That is a very Vikings. That's exactly why I'm suggesting. Because I think the Vikings, I mean.
They have too much talent, and you're
a lot
right.
of
Zimmer's a decent
expectation,
coach.
too, which is a little weird.
They've
been 9-7 since Jack Del Rio, the player.
Should we walk through it?
Let's do it.
Atlanta at Green Bay, Oakland at Chicago. Very winnable home games. Although Atlanta in that turf, that's going to be a good spot. I'm going to go. I'd say 2-2 here. I think they lose the road division game.
2-2.
Sean,
That's tough. I could see them going 3-1, splitting the division and winning the home games. But I don't know. Do the Falcons come in there and win?
yeah,
That's really
They could come out 3-1. That'd be a bitch Vikings thing to do.
Yeah, you're right. 3-1. They start hot. Get expectations.
Kirk Cousins is back.
Kirk Cousins, dark horse MVP candidate.
Kirk Cousins is the
Oh
hot
my-
chick you bring home from the bar, and then she takes off her pants and you smell a dead fish. That's Kirk Cousins. At New York Giants, Philadelphia. At Detroit, Washington on a Thursday night.
The rare game Washington gets up for.
Prime time though. That's a tough spot for me because Kirk Cousins will find a way. I say 2-2 again.
Yeah, I say 2-2. There's a primetime game there, and the Eagles.
1-3.
I want to go there.
At Kansas City, at Dallas, Denver at home, bye week at Seattle. What a brutal schedule.
This is where the tide turns for the Vikings. Give me 1-3.
1-3.
Detroit at Chargers, Green Bay at home on Monday night, Chicago. They do have those division games at the end. I can see that weird playoff scenario play. I'm gonna 2-2.
2-2.
1-3. I love what the Bears did to the Vikes at the end of the year last year. It was,
was
so
so
great.
great.
And I hear it in their voice. I got a Vikings fan in my fantasy league. I could see it in the way he drafted. They've regrouped. They've circled the wagons, and they think that there are stars there. They all bought their jerseys. Bought their jerseys.
They're just that Midwest where they're just like super optimistic.
They're
and they got
super
their,
optimistic. They think there's a shade. Look, we got a new stadium. These guys are here for a reason. They're pros. They make millions of dollars. They're just as good as anybody else. No, they're not. No, they are not. Kirk Cousins is going to sit in one spot and get fucking dropped all year. And I mean, I like Dalvin Cook.
This is Kirk Cousins dropping back. When he's in shotgun, he's pulling the ball back. He looks so nervous.
Sean, remember the guy who called into the show, the Zamboni driver?
Oh, my
Let's
God.
fucking go.
Dude,
he can't feel good about Kirk Cousins.
We had a listener call in before the NFC Championship game, and
which one? That one in Philly?
yeah, and he went all in. We asked him what he did for a living.
Oh
He's a
my
Zamboni
God.
driver, which is just
Love that.
awesome.
So Minnesota.
And I love the guy. Like, he just came in super hot, super passionate.
Yep.
The same way I felt about the Eagles
Yep.
when I put Robert Mays, ringer writer, in a fucking locker.
Yep.
He brought that heat. He brought that thunder. Now, unfortunately, they came off that Minnesota Miracle, and it was disastrous results. But
Shocking.
I'd love to hear from that guy again, and hopefully he still listens to the podcast. But
Sean,
Yes.
Nate's got him going 5-11.
wow,
Sean, you got him going 8-8. Wow, you really.
that was more.
How do you
generous
have
than I
every
wanted to be.
team? Every team is 500 or better in this division.
I have 3 8-8s and a 12-4.
That's hilarious. I can't wait for you to figure that out in the schedule predictor.
We
over
do
on
have a schedule predictor.
sportsgamblingpodcast.com.
See, I like to keep it rough. I don't actually like to be locked into every single game prediction. It's an eyeball thing.
I'm not that far off here. Maybe I gave the Lions too much love, but 7-9 for the Vikings. I have the Lions finishing in second place in the division.
That's not
That
gonna
feels wrong. Lions make a wild card, maybe. I don't know. Sean,
All right,
Good job.
Let's do this. Let's lock it up. Give out some locks here. My lock, I'm gonna.
let me go first so you don't
All
steal
right,
it.
go.
Just straight up. We're betting my clients. We're betting the Packers. We're betting the Packers over. We're betting the
What
Packers.
was the win total on the Packers? I'm sorry.
9.5 plus 110 on the over. And then we're also going to bet Packers to win the division at plus 225 and I'm going to suggest you put a couple shekels on the conference and the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Aaron Rodgers, I'm playing the FU mode angle.
What the fuck?
And then if you say, hey, Ryan, I need you to make a second play, give me the Bears under.
Okay.
Play the regression, baby.
Yeah. All right. I like that. I'll go next. Since you kind of were all over the Packers, I will ride Green Bay division plus 225. That's too much. That's too high for Aaron Rodgers and this team. My lock, I'm going to just lock up because it's fun. I'm going to lock up Vikings under.
Okay. I almost went there.
Hey, Kirk Cousins winning 10 games. Sorry, guys. Not going to happen. And that feels pretty fun. So, yeah, give me Minnesota under and then Green Bay to win the division at plus 225. Nathaniel, what do you got? What do you got going here?
The Lions win total was 6.5, right?
6.5.
Yeah. I don't see them. What I have them at.
You had it 6 and 10, but we gave you the under because it seemed like you weren't. Because it was 6.5.
6 is under 6.5. Sean.
I don't feel. I think I'm way too high on the Packers and I'm way too low on the Vikes.
Okay.
But the fact that the Vikes are at 9 flat.
That's high.
This
is where you play the game.
It's just strange.
Are they going to be a 10-win team? Because that's how you get beat.
You lose money if Kirk Cousins wins 10 games.
Yeah, they don't.
Is that going to happen?
No.
Agreed. Lock it up. Minnesota under as well. And
you know what? If I had to pick one of those, I'd take the Packers over.
Okay.
I think Rodgers in fuck you. I think Rodgers in fuck you mode all year.
Full fuck you mode.
Yeah, I think he's ready to work with the kid. I mean, if the kid can get 200 yards out of Derrick Henry for 4 straight weeks when it's a playoff run, he can figure out what to do with Aaron Rodgers.
That's a great way to look at it. I think if you're completely optimistic, and it seems like we all are, if LaFleur can get that kind of production out of Derrick Henry and Marcus Mariota, if he can get Marcus Mariota to a playoff victory, what can he do with Aaron Rodgers?
That's the reason why. I mean, I wasn't excited. We hired who? The guy responsible for the Titans offense. But then, I looked at it. That's why I could have kept Derrick Henry as my keeper this year. I went without a keeper because I love him, but I don't trust Marcus Mariota.
Derrick Henry's awesome in like a best ball league because he'll have like 2 or 3 awesome games, but
he won a lot of people a lot of money last year. That's for sure.
You have him in DraftKings in one of those games where he goes off. You're gonna fucking load up on cash. All right, everyone.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Big thanks to this is just some drunk guy from Philly that we had interview people in the draft. He was fun, man. Those clips are great. We gotta get him to do more stuff,
more bites.
Because he would interview people and then he would just say
Thank
this.
you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Now he's lived on as a legend.
Sean, can I throw one more bet out? Because I as we were going through the schedule, Packers to be the last undefeated team.
Ooh,
20-1.
Okay. That's some.
If you want to have some fun, I know you like them losing that first game.
Yeah, I think they lose week 1.
The other fun one, Sean, because we know. Why am I looking at tennis bets? We know the Packers are going to make the playoffs, and their odds. You wouldn't believe this, Sean. -130 Packers make the playoffs. Ka-ching.
Okay.
Ka-ching.
Maybe that's the lock.
Maybe that is the lock.
All right, I'll throw that in there. Green Bay -130 make the playoffs. Okay, everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Sports Gambling Podcast. Rate, review, share on iTunes. Get those iTunes reviews. Get those cranked up. Make sure you give Nate a follow on Twitter at HypeMan, correct?
At HypeMan, at Nate Craig Live on Instagram. Follow me on Spotify. Find me on iTunes. And you can listen to the Visitors Locker Room wherever you find podcasts.
Yeah. Make sure if he's coming to your town, does the road a bunch, make sure you check him out.
Next month, I'll be in Chicago. In Tinley Park with the Sklar Brothers. I'll be at Hilarities in Cleveland. I'll be at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. Find me out there. I'm out there. I'll be in Madison over the holidays. I'll be in Milwaukee and Madison over the holidays.
So if you're pissed off at Nate for picking the Bears to go 7-9, show up at his live show and talk to him after. Enjoy the comedy show first and then discuss football after. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
We miss you, Jordy Nelson.
Kramer. Let it ride.